That's that. Let's get into Eddie Nketiah in a second. Bernardo, sorry, bro. Skate. Eddie Nketiah. Now, unfortunately, Eddie Nketiah has picked up a knock as well. He'll be out for a month. I don't know how much that will complicate his move away from this club. He's actually looked very good in pre-season, or did look very good until that injury. I don't know if there's been actual offers. We know we've tried to get him to sign a new deal and he said no. We have heard Brighton are looking at him before, and you'd imagine, Brighton and us, we can work together, having just bought Ben White. I don't want us to give Brighton an inch, because they didn't give us an inch for Ben White. But if you considering he's got a year left, get a decent thing for him. And I think if they give us 20 million for Eddie Nketiah with the goal record he has in the senior game, they've zanged themselves. And really, it's like us getting our bread back. But for what it's worth, Brighton, and for what it's worth, that's a fantastic club for him to go to. Brighton plan to snatch Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal to bring them the missing goal touch. How does Eddie do that? Because I like Eddie, If I look at it with my Arsenal cap on, the man's a goal scorer. He bags, he does this, he does that. He's a good young player. If I look at it with a Brighton cap on or whatever, you call man a fox in the box. His record in the Prem or in the professional game is anything other than a fox in the box. If we need goals, there's an issue. Like Southampton, if you need goals, we've got young strikers here as well. We've got young strikers here. At 22 years of age, he's anything but clinical. To be fair to him, last year, I look at West Ham, I think at the start of last season, and definitely Fulham in the draw. He has been involved in some vital moments, but he's only good for the youth level things and all of them things at this moment in time. I don't know if Southampton need a striker, or they probably could get relegated. Could Eddie be that? I don't know. I'd love Eddie to go somewhere else and do his thing. But he's anything but a gunman. You look at his appearances in Premier League 2, the reserves, 27 goals in 38 games. I'm being harsh. I'm just looking at it without emotion. He's not a goal scorer in the senior game. I'm being harsh to him because it didn't work with Bielsa. But he went to Leeds. He struggled. He got 3 goals in Europa League. He's only bagged 3 times. In the league, he's only bagged 5 times. That's a handful of goals in 15 Europa Leagues, 17 in the Championship, 38 games. He's still learning. He's only 22. I'm not saying to write him off. I'm not saying he's going to ever be Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy, or Aubameyang, but where were they at 22? He's still young. He can develop. The problem is we don't need that right now. He could develop into, I think, a little Jermaine Defoe or something. I think he's going to have a career, but right now we can't carry him. I'm not being harsh to him. I'm just looking at it. If I'm Brighton, you say he's a fox in the box, he's a goal scorer, Ian Wright, Owen, Shearer, they wax lyrical about him, and I would listen to them. They know more about striking than me. But when I go down to the nuts and bolts, is this man going to score goals? I don't think he's been given a consistent platform to show it. He did force his way into the Arsenal team a couple of years ago, but you've got to earn it. He's got to go somewhere else. For me, I'd rather persist with a Balogun now. Give him an opportunity. If he proves he's not levels, then do what you need to do. For me, if anything, if we're not bringing in these Martinez's and things, Project Martinelli through the middle needs to happen. Obviously, there could be teething issues with him learning that. Eddie will be good because I think, he will do well at Brighton. He goes under Graham Potter. He works well with young players. There's a good system. Eddie is a good player to have in your squad. He presses well. He looked good in pre-season. He's just not quite off the level. This is where we've gone. Eddie is our Tammy Abraham. That's a bit harsh because Tammy's a goal scorer, bro. Eddie's not that. I do think it's a bit. I'm being harsh, but we're being a bit. You can't put him. You can't put him in them scales because at least Tammy will get. They're both linked with moves. Look at the levels, and it shows the structure of the clubs. But look at the levels. Whatever you say about Tammy hasn't got a bad record. He did his thing at Villa. He did his thing at Bristol. He can go and score. You can actually have some confidence that Tammy can score you close to 20 league goals. If they both went to Southampton now with Ings gone, who is going to score more goals, Tammy through the middle or Eddie? And Eddie's behind in his development because he hasn't played too much. There's got to be a reason you're not playing at Arsenal. You forced your way in ahead of them key strikers once, but there's got to be a reason. Why did you go Leeds under Bielsa and not play? Because arguably, I'm not going to say goals aren't important to a team and definitely not Bielsa, but you get the vibe that goals are the last thing with Bielsa. It's more, you need to be able to press and do all these things. So why was it just a manager decision? Why did you not get in that team? He's still developing. He needs to go somewhere where you can play 20, like Joe, play 20, 30 games, develop, It's very hard to correlate things into the first team. And again, it's just not going to happen for us. For us, he's done very good. He's come through our academy. He got released from Chelsea. He's come from our academy. He's won FA Cups. He's played a lot of time. He can be proud of himself. We can all be proud. But now it's time for Eddie to go one way, Arsenal to go another, and wish everyone the best. Our paths might cross again, 65 appearances. This ain't, bro, man's played 65 times for the club, 13 goals. You probably, to be fair to him, I don't think too many of them are 90 minutes, but it's not levels, is it? Really and truly. And he's still developing, but it is what it is. And for you lot comparing him to Tammy, I think that's harsh because Tammy might not, and he's only a year older than them. Tammy's done the hard graphs. It didn't work out for him at Swansea, but he's been Swansea, he's been Bristol, he's been about. Just like Mount went about, Reece James went about. Hudson-Odoi ain't been on loan and ain't played like that in the first team. Can you be surprised why his IQ and the speed of which he does things is probably behind some of the others? I don't know. And I like Hudson-Odoi for what it's worth. These men are still developing. You can't get on to Tammy, bro. The level. How can you say Eddie is a Tammy? I'm not being harsh. I love Eddie and I like Tammy as well. I don't think he's bad, but I like the truth. Bro, you can't have them in the same context because if I'm Southampton or Brighton and I need a goal scorer to make the difference, obviously money's a thing. Look at the records, bro. In 89 games, Tammy's got 26 in the league. In 78 championship games, he's got 48. Forget the assists because strikers are paid to score goals. Everything's a bonus. Tammy's got something to work with. Man's played 40 times for Villa, 26 goals. The same record amount of goals in 48 appearances for Bristol, 30 goals and in 82 for Chelsea. It's not amazing, but there's something to build upon. Where again, you go back to Eddie. Eddie's thing is meaty. Eddie's played less career games, and I think that's because of our approach to young players in development. Not everybody needs to go on loan, by the way. Structured development, because Mount went to Vitesse at one point at a time. That might have been good for him, but if there was another player, they might have flopped there. So it's about the proper sort of thing. You see, Billy Gilmore's going and playing at Norwich, where it's a technical team. If he went to, I don't know, a Sheffield United, he might stand out if they were still in the league, but that's not his sort of game. So it's about picking them. And I think for Eddie's been too comfortable at Arsenal. Chelsea's dynamics are different, but Eddie's, like Eddie and Joel and Nelson, a lot of them have been too comfortable and not really pushed the ball, and maybe not push the ball out, and maybe saying that they've been comfortable isn't the right thing, but they've been a bit naive and believing that, the manager's telling me to go on loan or I need to play games, but I believe I can make it here. There's more to life than that. He's played significantly less games. Like I said, the records are not the same, but so you can't say he's Tammy. There's no contest, bro. He's better than Tammy's better than him, and it's not about that. It's just, it is what it is. I think Brighton will be a fantastic club for Eddie, for what it's worth. They're hoping to snatch the 22-year-old for around 20 million. I'm sure every Arsenal fan will bite your hand off for that. There's 350 odd of you locked in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button and you're aware of the next live stream. Tottenham versus Arsenal is pinned to the live message. The striker has found it hard to crack the first team with Arsenal, but is young enough to establish himself in the Premier League. Fact, he made 17 appearances for us last term, scoring twice. Boy, it's a bit of a madness, really and truly. So there's that. Apparently, Patrick Vieira is a fan of Eddie Nketiah, but the price may be too high for him, and the Eagles are reluctant to go into the auction. So for me, I'd like to see Nelson go on loan to Palace, and Eddie go there permanently or on loan as well. Man, Vieira will help us out in that regards. It would be a good move for Eddie for what it's worth, in my opinion. Palace, and do you know what? Palace could be good for him. He could be their little fake Ian Wright before he came to Arsenal. And plus, obviously, Eddie's a South London man as well, so it would make sense. For what it's worth, Brighton plan to spend chunk of Ben White cash on Arsenal star Eddie Nketiah in bid to end scoring woes. And it would be good for Eddie. And as much as Brighton fans would consider he's young, they don't care about that. They just need goals. Are you going to come and able to do that? And if he's given the opportunity, I want him to do it. But we don't know, people. And you'd imagine they must have had Brighton, if Brighton are legitly, and this is anything more than paper talk, you must imagine Brighton and Arsenal, same way we must have said, and I don't want to say his name because Arsenal fans are not going to shut up about it. We must have said when we're dealing for Ben White, what are you lot saying for Bissouma? And they must have said, we lot saying for Eddie, Is there a way? I don't think we're going to sign another number 6 with Partey and Lokonga. Partey's injury might flip it on his head. But, is there a way 20 million or something plus Eddie? Bissouma, again, there could be something in that regards, people. So they probably do know what Arsenal are trying to look at. If I'm trying to buy Eddie, I'm trying to lowball Arsenal 12, 15, if that. I'm trying to really do it for 7.5. So to hear 20 million, it's a good thing. Apparently, the South Coast club have aspirations of challenging for Europe over the course of the next few years. But despite playing some eye-catching football at times last season, they finished 16th in the league. And for me, what I would like with Eddie is we put in a handsome sell-on clause. You know, Danny Ings, it didn't really happen for him at Liverpool. He went somewhere and it's different, but he found his feet. He's now gone to Villa. They made a little 6 million off him. I think Eddie is going to be a decent striker. I don't know if he's going to, it's down to him. I think he can be a Premier League striker. I don't know for the term, if the term household name is the right one, but he can hold his own. He needs the development to that. So if he does become that, that's okay. He might not become a striker that, look at Josh King. He didn't make it at United, but he's been floating around at little clubs here and there. You know, if he's going to do something like that, then make sure we grab a little 20%. Not everyone who comes through our academy has to be Saka and them things there. You're going to get the Sakas, you're going to get Smith Rowe, you might get a Maitland in theory that could be a squad player. You're going to get some players that are not good enough from the jump. You're going to get some players that are part of the team for a couple of years. They're just not able to carry on. And that's like with Eddie. You need to go somewhere you can make mad starts. He made what? It said 17 or so appearances in the league. You scored twice. That's a meaty record, but I might say to defend you, you ain't been given an opportunity. You're not getting in ahead of Lacazette or Aubameyang, at least for a year. We're looking at bringing in Martinez and that. Balogun signed a new deal. Tyrese John-Jules is on loan at Blackpool in the Championship. Hopefully he does his thing. For me, as I keep saying, Project Martinelli is what I'm trying to hear through the middle. So it's Gazy. You know, Arsenal are seeking to offload Eddie, who has struggled to break into the first team at the Emirates with the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette ahead of him. The Gunners are looking to sell some of their fringe players this summer. To be fair to you, Eddie, you're not the first name I'd like to see go. We need to get some money, but you know, it's probably harder to do. But I would like to see Kolasinac, who apparently terminating his deal and going Fenerbahce, Willian, these sort of guys. You know, even Torreira's future, because I haven't. At least I can see Eddie. Where the hell is Torreira? Like, where is Torreira? Anyways, people. So, yeah, apparently Graham Potter hinted last week that he might not be using any of the money to replace White, but would instead look to invest in other areas of his squad. He said, I think we've got enough competition in that area, obviously defence. We have enough good players. We can be flexible with how we set up. You can't replace a £50 million player. You have to look to find a solution in the squad. But we are in a good place at the moment. Obviously, allegedly, former Arsenal striker Danny Welbeck is expected to miss at least a month. To be fair to you, you know, I don't know for wages, but 20 million, that must be enough to get at least a conversation with Celtic about Eduard. I'd look for that. Darwin Núñez, I think you're not getting that for 20 million from Benfica, but you can try. They do need attackers. And even if you look around the Prem, there might have been other people to look at and things, or other people to have a look at. Like for me, if I'm Brighton, West Ham and these guys, if you've got any peas, I'm trying to do the Tammy Abraham thing. I can't lie to you. But we'll have to see what happens in that regards, man. Defo didn't expect to last that long in relation to Eddie Nketiah. 430 of you locked in. Please make